The Euromaidan protest, which kicked off on 21st of November 2013 in Kiev's Independence Square, marked a significant chapter in Ukraine's history. Sparked by President Viktor Yanukovych's sudden halt to an association agreement with the European Union, these gatherings quickly morphed into a civil chaos. Despite facing the violent crackdown, protesters stood firm, leading to the major political shift. By the February of 2014, the relentless pressure forced Yanukovych to flee the country, marking a turning point in Ukraine's journey towards the European integration and the war which we are seeing today. Fast forward to the recent times, and now Slovakia seems to be pushed on the same path. We all remember how the likes of Victoria Nuland and the deep state assets worked hard for the fall of the Ukrainian government. Now, allegations afloat that the deep state, though on back foot, is still trying hard to make another battleground, as the Ukraine war is possibly heading for a close. The Slovakian Prime Minister Robert Fico has alleged that the presence of foreign operatives is now in the country, claiming that there are experts in orchestrating the coup and previously involved Ukrainian Maidan protest and political unrest in Georgia. At a press conference with Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban on Tuesday, Fico disclosed the information, citing a confidential report from Slovakia's intelligence agencies, the Slovak Information Office, also known as SIS. Fico stated, and we quote, "There is a group of experts on the territory of Slovak Republic that is actively operating and had operated in Georgia and also during the Maidan in Ukraine." He suggested that these individuals might be working to provoke similar political unrest in Slovakia and vowed to implement precautionary measures. The Prime Minister also added that the operatives are now under strict monitoring and plans to raise the issue with the Slovak Security Council later this week. While the specific measure to counter these alleged threats have not been detailed, Fico stressed the need for decisive maintenance of the constitutional order. The opposition leaders and civic groups have dismissed the allegation, viewing them as an attempt to suppress the dissent and distract from the growing concern over the democratic backsliding under the Fico administration. But what is ironic here is that in recent days, the public protests have intensified since his return to power in 2023, with the citizens expressing frustration over the government policies and a perceived shift in Slovakia's foreign relations. Robert Fico has recently survived an assassination attempt. Pretty much same like the Ukraine saga, isn't it? Following his electoral victory in 2023, Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico has adopted policies that have strained relations with Ukraine and NATO. Fico has consistently opposed to the military assistance of the Ukraine, asserting that providing weapons will only escalate the war. He also pledged to halt Slovakia's military aid to Ukraine, stating that he will not send even a single bullet. He also declared his intent to veto the Ukraine's potential NATO membership, expressing concern that such an expansion can lead to broader war. He also emphasized that as long as he remains in office, Ukraine will not join NATO. These positions have caused friction within NATO, and Slovakia's stance under Fico contrasts with the alliance's collective support for Ukraine. His approach has aligned Slovakia more closely with Hungary, another NATO member, expressing reservation about the support for Ukraine, potentially challenging the alliance's unity regarding the war. Just imagine, a population of 5.4 million people has suddenly caused panic in the whole of Western Bloc, and all because of one guy, Robert Fico. Slovakia's bold push to chart its own course, separate from the EU, NATO, and what some might call the Anglo-American playbook, has clearly rattled the status quo. By advocating for a peaceful resolution in the Russia-Ukraine war, Fico has drawn both applause and ire. But with Slovakia now in the spotlight, instability seems to be creeping closer. The so-called deep state and the European elites, who thrive on the continuation of the war, are reportedly uneasy. Fico's peace overtures have shifted the focus, and that's a narrative they will rather bury. Whether through the political maneuvering or external pressure, it seems that there is a growing interest in sidelining him before his message gains more traction.